What's going on, guys, and welcome to my official FPL Game Week 1 team selection video. The FPL deadline is only a few days away and I've spent hours, days, weeks researching stats, watching video after video, trying to figure out how an average FPL player like me can become the FPL champion and finish #1 in the world.
That's impossible!
Hopefully we can do it, but make sure you guys do stick around to follow my FPL journey for the 2024-25 FPL season. So straight into the team we go, guys, and we're going to start off with the goalkeeper and the back three. Alright, and in goal we've got David Raya, and for the back three we've got Gavardiol, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Mikalenko. I do like this defensive lineup that I've got at the moment, and in goal I've gone for David Raya because Arsenal defensively last season were absolutely incredible. They were the best defensive team in the league last season, and David Raya at the price of 5.5 million is the cheapest route into the Arsenal defense, and that's why I do like him. He's very reliable, and I'm actually a fan of the fixtures that Arsenal have. For like the first 8 games I can see a lot of clean sheets in there for Arsenal. Yet in game week 1 it's Wolves at home. In game week 2 it's very tough against Villa away, I know, but you never know, they still could get a clean sheet in that game. In game week 3 it's Brighton at home, where you'd expect them to get a clean sheet. Of course in game weeks 4 and 5 very tough games, but then in 6, 7 and 8 very favourable games where you'd expect Arsenal to get some clean sheets. So for me, I do love Raya, I do love the Arsenal defence, and I've gone for Raya because he's the cheapest route into their defenders. Now, one thing I do want to say as well is that I'm not really a big fan of the 4.5 goalkeepers at the moment. There's a lot of it just feels very risky going with a 4.5 goalkeeper at the moment, and I feel like a lot of them are unreliable. For example, you've got SALAH at Nottingham Forest. Yes, he's been playing in pre-season, but you've just got their new signing Miguel there waiting to come in at any moment in time. If SALAH doesn't perform well, he can be rotated with that goalkeeper. And even at Chelsea, for example, you've got Sanchez competing with 2 goalkeepers, Petrovic, and I think it's Jorgensen. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but the new signing that Chelsea got. So yeah, there's a lot of competition for a lot of the 4.5 goalkeepers. You've of course got players like Areola, but I just don't like the fixtures that West Ham have at all. And then I'd probably say Henderson is the best bet, but I just prefer Raya in goal, man. I just prefer the Arsenal defence, and that's why I'm going to spend 5.5 on my goalkeeper. So I've gone for Gavardiol because I really do think Manchester City, along with Arsenal, will be one of the best defensive teams in the league. And of course I had to go for Gavardiol because last season he showed attacking potential. He showed that he's playing very high up the pitch, essentially almost playing as a left winger, guys. So that's why I do like Gavardiol. His underlying attacking data is really good, and when you look at the fixtures that Man City have, some really nice fixtures. For example, in game weeks 2 they got Ipswich at home, game weeks 3 West Ham away, game weeks 4 Brentford at home. When you combine the fact that Gavardiol has potential to get attacking returns but also clean sheets, I think we could be looking at some very big scores there. So I do like the Gavardiol pick. I feel very comfortable with that pick. I feel it feels very safe to go with a player like Gavardiol because I do trust Man City to get some clean sheets, and I do trust Gavardiol, especially when playing against them lower sides in the Premier League. I do expect Gavardiol to hopefully get some attacking returns as well. And I've gone for Trent Alexander-Arnold for the exact same reason, guys. We know how good Trent Alexander-Arnold is going forward. We know that he can get goals. We know that he can get assists. He is someone that has shown that previously in the Premier League. So I do love Trent Alexander-Arnold as an FPL option. The fixtures for Liverpool are absolutely fantastic, guys. Some of the best fixtures to start the season, and that's why I've gone for Trent Alexander-Arnold. It's Ipswich away in game week 1. It's Brentford at home in game week 2. Yes, a tough fixture against United away, but then in game weeks 4 and 5 it's Nottingham Forest at home and Bournemouth at home. These are some of the best fixtures to start the season, and I want Trent Alexander-Arnold for that run. I just think yes, I know that Liverpool are under a new manager, Onslaught. They're no longer playing under Jurgen Klopp anymore, but for me, I've been watching Liverpool in pre-season, and I can't lie, it's looking really good, guys. Alright, they've actually not lost a pre-season game. They've been performing pretty well. The fullbacks are getting high up the pitch. In the latest game, I've actually just finished watching the friendly between Liverpool and Sevilla. Trent did get an assist. He's shown the attacking potential that he does have, so I really do like Trent Alexander-Arnold as an option. For me, he's almost essential, almost essential. So yeah, I'm really excited with that pick, and I hope he can deliver the goods, man, because Trent has shown it in previous seasons, man. He can get the job done. Now, to partner up with Gavardiol and Trent Alexander-Arnold in the back three, we've got Mikalenko there, and on the bench we've actually got Robinson from Fulham. So it's a rotation that I've spoke about a lot. The Everton Fulham rotation, I really do love it, and that's why I've gone for Mykolenko and Robinson as my two 4.5 defenders. When they rotate, you get some really nice fixtures, and as you guys can see by this graphic on screen, some really nice favourable home fixtures you get when you rotate these two players. So you get Brighton at home in game week 1, Leicester at home in game week 2, Bournemouth at home in game week 3. And one thing I want to point out quickly is in game week 3 you've got Everton against Bournemouth at home, but you've also got Robinson against Ipswich away, so you could actually play both of them together. So yeah, and then in game weeks 4 you've got West Ham at home, and game weeks 5 Newcastle at home, and even beyond that some really nice fixtures. So I love the Everton Fulham rotation. It works really well. Also, I like Mykolenko, but I especially love Robinson, because Robinson is getting forward a lot for Fulham, and he showcased that last season. All right, he did get quite a few assists. I think he got 6 assists last season, but the underlying data is really good for Robinson. He has a lot of touches in the box. He does get a lot of crosses into the box, so I am expecting some attacking returns from Robinson in the first few game weeks. So yeah, very excited with that pick, and I do love that 4.5 rotation between Mykolenko and Robinson. In fact, it probably is my favorite 4.5 rotation over the Aston Villa Newcastle rotation. I actually prefer this one instead. So straight into the midfield we go, and as you guys can see, we've got Diogo Jota, Anthony Gordon, Bukayo Saka, and Callum Hudson-Odoi. It's a midfield that I really like, and I know the big talking point is there is no Mohamed Salah, but guys, I just think I just had to do it. All right, you know what that means, by the way. I hope you guys know what that means. All right, there's a certain someone in the striker position that we have that costs 15 million. That's what that means. All right, I couldn't go for Haaland and Salah. All right, I just couldn't. I tried so many times trying to find the draft that I liked with Haaland and Salah, but it just didn't work out for me. I just couldn't make a draft that I liked, so I had to pick one. And of course, because you guys can see no Salah, it means I've gone for Haaland. Now let me explain myself real quick. All right, Diogo Jota is the key to this draft. I think that he can cover that Liverpool attack really nicely, and I think that he can cover Mohamed Salah. He is going to be starting. I can tell you that for a fact. All right, he's been playing in pre-season. It's looking like it's going to be a Diaz, Jota, and Salah front three, and I just love the Jota pick. In previous seasons when I've gone for Diogo Jota, it's worked out for me very well. Diogo Jota is someone that has proved he can score goals in the Premier League. His goal scoring ratio is actually really good, and he is a clinical finisher. So I love the Jota pick. I love the fixtures that Liverpool have, and for me, I feel like I'm in a good situation with Jota, and I'll tell you why. Because we know that he's going to start most likely game weeks 1 and 2, and for me, that's all I need him to do, is just start game weeks 1 and 2. But if he does perform well and he scores goals and Liverpool win those games comfortably, and just Liverpool as a team are playing well, you'd expect that Jota will continue to play in that number 9 position. So if that does happen, Jota still remains a good pick, because he's going to continue starting in that number 9 role. But if it goes wrong and, you know, he doesn't play very well, he doesn't score in the 2 games, which to be honest I don't think will happen. I think he will score in the 2 games, but let's just say he doesn't. In game weeks 3, I can just take him out for someone like Nkunku at 6.5, or someone like Leon Bailey in game weeks 3, so at 6.5. So yeah, I've got sort of I've got the route, I've got sort of an exit strategy to go to that I can rely on if it doesn't work out with Jota. So for me, I just think it's a win-win. If he doesn't perform well, then I've got very good options at 6.5, like Nkunku at Leon Bailey. And if he does perform well and he continues to start, then happy days. I've got a Liverpool attacker at 7.5 in that number 9 position. So I think Jota is an explosive player. He's someone that can get a lot of FPL points and a lot of goals. So that's why I love the Jota pick. That's why I've gone for him. I feel like he can cover that Liverpool attack, and yeah, hopefully it works out, man. I guess you could say it's a bit of a risk, but at the end of the day, I like to take some risks sometimes. So yeah, we got Diogo Jota in there, and of course I spoke about how good the Liverpool fixtures are, so I'm very happy with that pick. Now I've gone for Anthony Gordon at 7.5 million because I just love the fixtures that Newcastle have. They got some really good fixtures, which include playing against Southampton in game week 1, guys, Bournemouth away in game week 2, Spurs at home in game week 3, and then Wolves and Fulham away in game weeks 4 and 5. Now for me, Anthony Gordon is just, I just love the pick. I really do. Last season, we saw how good he was, all right? He was absolutely cooking last season, guys. He managed to get 11 goals, 16 assists. He really did perform well, and I'm predicting Newcastle to score a lot of goals in that Game Week 1 fixture and a lot of goals in that Game Week 2 and even Game Week 3 against Spurs at home, all right? So I just think Anthony Gordon is a really good pick. He played in the last preseason game for Newcastle against Girona. He actually scored as well. I know he did come off at half-time, but I'm still predicting him to start in Game Week 1. There is the possibility that he may get reduced minutes though, which is why I was actually thinking of going for Murphy at 5.5, but I was considering it, but I just thought, you know what, Gordon's the better player, and even if Gordon does play around only 70 to 75 minutes, I still think he can get more returns than someone like Jacob Murphy. So that's why I'm going for Gordon, because I do trust him, and I do love the Newcastle attack. They can score a lot of goals, and especially when they play at home. So for me, I do like Gordon. Now, of course, I could have gone for someone like Eze, who isn't in this draft, obviously. I could have gone for someone like Eze, who is on penalties, probably going to get 90 minutes, but for me, I just slightly prefer, I prefer Newcastle's fixtures, and I just prefer the Newcastle attack as a whole. There is still that option though, and again, this isn't finalized, all right? That's why you guys have to tune into the deadline stream that I'm going to be doing on Friday, because there may be changes to this draft. This is just my current draft at the moment, but there could be changes. I might decide I want to put someone like Eze in, but at the moment, I'm set on Gordon at 7.5. I do like him as a pick, and I do think he again is quite explosive. I can picture him getting a lot of attacking returns in the first few game weeks, so I do like Gordon as a pick. Now, Bukayo Saka is in there at 10 million. Of course, I had the option to go for someone like maybe a Kevin De Bruyne at 9.5, maybe a Heung-min Sonaldo at 10 million, but I've opted for Bukayo Saka at 10 million because, like I said, guys, I love Arsenal. Well, okay, hold on a second. I don't love Arsenal like that. I'm a Manchester United fan, but what I mean is, for FPL purposes, I love Arsenal because their players are very reliable. I do like Saka because he's got the attacking potential, of course, and he's on penalties. Sometimes he does take corners. He kind of does rotate them with Declan Rice. We do see Declan Rice taking a lot of corners as well, but we see Saka on penalties. He is the 90-minute man, all right? He never gets subbed off. Even if he's got a slight knock or a slight injury, you know Arteta is going to play Bukayo Saka. So that's why I do like him, all right? He's guaranteed 90 minutes and he's on penalties and he's playing for one of the best teams in the Premier League. So that's why I've gone for Bukayo Saka, and I do like the fixtures as well. And I just think he's very reliable. Saka, he can score against anyone, you know, even in the tougher games that Arsenal do have, you know, your Aston Villa aways, your Spurs aways. I wouldn't say City because, you know what, I'm not going to lie. When Arsenal play Man City, they always just defend. So I'm not really expecting Saka to actually score against Man City because, yeah, when Arsenal play Man City, they usually just play very defensively. But against Spurs and against Villa away, I can see Saka scoring goals. I can see him getting attacking returns. So for me, I just like Saka because against Wolves in Game Week 1, I can see him scoring. Villa, I can see him scoring. Brighton, you guys get the gist, right? You guys get what I'm trying to say. Saka can pretty much get attacking returns against any team in the Premier League, and he showcased that last season. So for me, I really do like that Saka pick, and I do trust the Arsenal assets. Last season, he absolutely cooked, all right? 16 goals, 12 assists. I like him as an option. So we've gone for Callum Hudson-Odoi as my 5.5 million midfielder, and I've just simply gone for him because I just love the fixtures that Nottingham Forest do have. They got some of the best fixtures to start the season, along with Liverpool. Yeah, man, I just love their fixtures. In Game Week 1, they got Bournemouth at home. Game Week 2 is Southampton away. In Game Week 3, it's Wolves at home. Yes, a tough fixture in Game Week 4 against Liverpool, but then it's Brighton and Fulham in Game Weeks 5 and 6. For me, I just love the fixtures that Nottingham Forest do have. And one thing I do want to say is that, yes, there are other good 5.5 options. You know, you've got Kamada from Crystal Palace, who played really well in the Bundesliga under Oliver Glasner. You've got Emil Smith-Rowe from Fulham, who's doing pretty well in pre-season, 2 goals in 2 games. You've also got some very good £5 million options like Amad Diallo, Oscar Bob, Morgan Rogers. But for me, I just think the fixtures that Nottingham Forest have to start the season are just too good to ignore and too good to turn down. So I just really want a Nottingham Forest attacker. I can't afford Morgan Gibbs-White, but so which means it's technically between Hudson-Odoi and Anthony Elanga at 5.5, and I just slightly prefer Hudson-Odoi because although Elanga seems to have slightly better underlying data in terms of expected goals and expected assists, Hudson-Odoi's actual output is better than Langa's, and what I mean by that is he seems to have better end product. He seems to be more clinical and more decisive in front of goal. He outperformed his XG massively last season, and that's part of the reason why I'm going for for Hudson-Odoi, because he's demonstrated that he can be a bit more clinical in front of goal and has better end product than someone like Anthony Elanga. So for me, I'm currently on Hudson-Odoi. That could change, but at the moment, I do like him as a 5.5 million option. So moving on into the forwards, guys. As you can see, we've got Rodrigo Muniz, Alexander Isak, and Erling Haaland. Yes, that's right, guys. The man that cost 15 million has made it into my Game Week 1 FPL final team. I didn't actually think I'd do it. I thought he was, too expensive, but you know what? I've actually finally made a draft with Haaland that I actually like, and I feel like I'm not losing out really anywhere, to be honest with you. So I feel like I've made a balanced squad with Haaland. But before I do speak about this forward lineup, I just want to say I've changed my team an unhealthy amount of times. Probably about 10,000 times I've changed my team. It's like I make a draft without Haaland, with Salah, Son, Saka that I love, but then I'm like, oh, it's not got Erling Haaland in there. And then I make a draft with Haaland and Salah, and then I'm like, damn, I've just sacrificed way too much for my liking, so I just can't pick the both of them. And then even I've made some Haaland only drafts that I'm just like, damn, I don't like. I mean, I kind of like it, but it's not got Salah in there. But now, this is where I'm set, all right? This is where I'm set at. I like it. I've got Jota in there. I'm actually confident that Jota will play, and that was like the deciding factor for me, because now I'm pretty confident that Jota will play in that number 9 spot. I'm actually happy without going with Salah, because if Jota's going to play, I think he pretty much is just as good as an option, in my opinion. So yeah, I love the Haaland pick. Now let's talk about Haaland. Let's talk about this front three. Firstly, Haaland provides that reliable captaincy option, all right? I no longer have to worry about who I'm going to captain each week. Although, one thing I want to say is that I'm actually not going to captain Haaland in Game Week 1. That's going to be Alexander Isak. But from Game Week 2 onwards, in Game Week 2 against Ipswich at home, it's a Haaland captain. In Game Week 3 against West Ham away, it's Haaland captain. And in Game Week 4 against Brentford at home, it's Haaland captain. So that's one thing that I do love, all right? He just gives you that reliable captaincy option. So yeah, we know Haaland's going to score goals, all right? This man scores goals for fun. We know that. He's got the best underlying data for a forward in this game. So for me, Haaland is actually the best asset in this game, of course. The only problem is he comes at the price of 15 million. But I've made a draft that I'm very, very happy with. So that's why I'm going to go for Erling Haaland. I absolutely love him as a pick, all right? We know he scores goals for fun. Now, moving on, we've got Alexander Isak, all right? And for me, he is absolutely essential. If you do not have Alexander Isak in your Game Week 1 team, guys, what on earth are you doing? I usually don't say players are essential, but for me, Alexander Isak is that man, all right? He's absolutely essential in my opinion. The fixtures are really, really good for Newcastle. At the price of 8.5 million, he's just such good value in my opinion. He's going to play 90 minutes. He's on penalties as well, and this man scores goals for fun. Last season, he got 21 goals in 27 starts. It's an absolutely amazing return from Alexander Isak, and I'm pretty sure to start the season, he can carry on that fantastic goal scoring form. He's doing well in pre-season as well. The fixtures are there for him. You know, Southampton, Bournemouth, Spurs. These games, I can see Alexander Isak scoring in. So I just love him. I love him as a pick. I really, really do. We've got Rodrigo Muniz to finish off the team in that forward spot. I just love the fixtures that Fulham have long term. It was a debate between Chris Wood and Rodrigo Muniz, but the reason why I've not gone for Chris Wood is just because of Awoniyi. Awoniyi is there, and it could mean sort of like early substitutions for Chris Wood. Maybe like 70 minutes he's off, 65 minutes he's off. So that's literally the only reason. I love Chris Wood as a pick. I do expect him to score some goals, especially because he will be starting games. But it's just the early substitutions that are a bit risky in my opinion. I'd prefer my number 9 to be on for the majority of the game, and I just don't want. I would just hate to see Chris Wood getting subbed off early and he's in my team. So I've gone for Rodrigo Muniz because long term the fixtures are really, really good. It's a pretty much set and forget striker option all the way up until about game week 7 or game week 8. I love the fixtures that Fulham have. You know, yes, it's Man United away in game week 1, but after that it's Leicester at home, Ipswich away, West Ham at home, Newcastle at home, and then Nottingham Forest away. So really good fixtures there for Rodrigo Muniz. We saw last season his form really picked up when he started games. So I do like him as an option. You know, he scored 9 goals last season, got it in 18 starts as well. So I think he's got potential to do really well. So that is going to be it for today's video, guys. That is my final game week 1 team selection. Of course, things possibly could change, so make sure you guys do subscribe, alright, and make sure you guys do tune into my deadline stream on Friday around 5 p.m. alright. Make sure you guys do tune into that because changes might be made, I don't know, but at the moment I'm very set on this. Alright, I love this team, I do like it. Obviously I'm missing some plays like Eze, Watkins, but at the end of the day, guys, you simply cannot have everyone. Some plays do have to miss out. So yeah, it is what it is. I hope you guys did enjoy the video though. If you enjoyed, make sure you guys do smash a big thumbs up on the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't seen my last video, the Point Predictor series, make sure you guys do check it out. It's going to be a good one. But yeah, hope you guys did enjoy, and I will see you guys for the deadline stream. But until then, I'm out. Peace.